Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Wonderful Wednesdays with Wendy. I am your host, Wendy Wotecki, the Parent Support Connector here at Mission Empower. And today I'm super excited to bring to you the Nurse Family Partnership. So I have four lovely ladies here that are from the Nurse Family Partnership. And today they are going to tell us all about this amazing program that I just recently found out about. So, Tammy, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hi, Rhonda and Tiffany and the other Wendy. Ladies, I'm so glad to have you. So,
Hello.
good afternoon. Tammy, what can you tell me about the Nurse Family Partnership? How did it come to be? Where did this come from?
It actually began almost 50 years ago in Denver when Dr. David Olds who is a psychologist, started doing studies about first-time pregnant moms and their needs. And they did different avenues as far as social workers, lay people, paraprofessionals, and they found that nurses made the best connection with those first-time moms because not only they had the education component, but the medical component. So as he did more research and replicated it in different counties, states, it had grown to the East Coast because it was out in Denver, had grown to the East Coast, and by 1999, Erie County was awarded a Nurse Family Partnership grant because of the fact that we did have a high teen pregnancy rate. There was definitely a need in our county for it. So we were the first site in Pennsylvania, one of the first 3 sites in Pennsylvania in 1999.
Wow, and so that was data driven basically with our numbers, of course.
Correct.
Which is amazing. So do you remember who was funding that in the very beginning by chance?
Rhonda?
It was the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency.
How interesting. And so who is your funding source now?
Currently, it's Ochdel out of Harrisburg, the Office for Child Development and Early Learning.
Okay, excellent. And so what is the main purpose of the Nurse Family Partnership?
Get all the girls' questions answered that they have. It's one time in their life that this is all about them. And so it's client-centered, driven by what their needs and desires are, as opposed to us going in and trying to find something that's wrong and fixing it. We want to know what they want to learn. And as nurses, we kind of stick the other stuff in there that we know that it's important for them to learn, but we want to know what they want to know, and we try and answer that.
Dr. Olds believes that in every mother's heart, they truly desire to be the best mother that they could be. And so that's what we try to find out is what help do they need to be the best mom that they think they can be, make them the most effective parent possible, as well as the dads when they're involved. Same thing with the dads.
That's super cool. I had no idea that you worked with the dads too. So what is the base criteria for you to get involved with Nurse Family Partnership?
So the basic program is for first-time moms. Moms have to enroll before the end of their 28th week in pregnancy. Again, data has shown that if we can catch moms during pregnancy, the program is more effective and more successful. So they have to be first-time mom before 28 weeks of pregnancy and meet low-income criteria. So if they qualify for WIC, Medicaid, food stamps, or TANF, they would qualify for our program. We also have been part of a pilot study with multip moms that we are continuing to engage in, so we can see moms who are not first-time pregnant as long as they have other risk factors. So in other words, they're not a first-time parent, that's no longer a risk factor, but maybe they still have factors that could negatively impact their ability to parent well. And that's determined at the point the referral is made if we feel someone would qualify. And for that mom, we just have to start services before the baby is born. We don't have to worry about the 28 weeks, but we need to start before the baby actually is born.
Okay, that's really interesting that they have added, that's a recent add in to the program, right?
Yes, that's a pilot we participated in for the last few years. The pilot just ended, but they've granted us permission to continue to see these moms while they're deciding whether or not to adapt it into the model permanently.
That's really good news. So a mom applies, she's accepted into the program, then what what is a visit from a nurse family partnership nurse? What does that look like? What does a visit look like?
We will set up a time. I mean, usually we try to meet in person. Right now, everything's virtual. We kind of talk about their pregnancy, get basic demographic information, um, and we talk about how they're feeling, what kind of things they may need, and information they may need. And it's more about where they're at. As far as pregnancy, whether some of them are still dealing with the reality that they are pregnant, or maybe having to tell their parents or family, or maybe they have higher goals, you know, that they're working their way towards college or finishing high school, or maybe a certain career or job. So not only just the physical part of it, but we also talk about the holistic, you know, what are your goals? What are your dreams?
Are you able to help them with any of those items, the goals and the dreams, or are you more trying to get a whole picture so you know what you need to do with the client?
Um, yeah, being involved, being able to be involved with them for almost 2.5 years. Oh yeah. I mean, you know, baby steps. Some may make just little tiny steps, but some may make leaps and be working, you know, towards their PhD. But it's amazing how these moms do. I mean, all of them make progress somehow, you know, and again, it's about their progress and not what we want. We know what we would want for them, but it's about where they're at and where they want to be.
So 2.5 years, that's a long time to be supporting, your client. I imagine you
Mhm.
guys developed some really amazing relationships with these families. So what is the background of education that you guys are bringing? Can anybody be provide services, or is there training that's involved?
So all of the nurses that participate in the program are registered nurses, preferably with a bachelor's of science in nursing or significant maternal child health work background in order to be part of Nurse Family Partnership. Once a nurse joins our NFP team, they receive a pretty intensive training from our National Service Office in Denver. And then we have ongoing training from there out. So we get a lot of education and support from our National Service Office. In addition to maintaining our nursing license, we have education for the Nurse Family Partnership Program, which is always evolving and changing because it is an evidence-based program. So they're constantly gathering statistics and data and trying to make the program better. So just in the 7 years I've been doing it, there have been many changes with different types of assessments or programs that we use, educational material for our moms. It's always changing and growing to suit the needs of our clients.
Okay, so that is excellent to hear. So you're getting a truly knowledgeable person that's coming in and helping you with your baby. If say something like the baby has jaundice and the mom doesn't know that or understand that, or she hasn't been to the doctor yet, or hasn't, you're in that in-between shot schedule, is that something that you guys help a mom out with, and you can just see the baby and have those suggestions, like what kind of different things can you help a mom with when she's walking through those early stages, those early 2.5 years? What are you looking out for, basically?
We can do anything that they really want or need. I mean, there's definitely the point of what do they need or what do they want? And then also assessing the situation and seeing, making suggestions about, like, for example, the jaundice, we have to call your doctor, we have to get the baby in, or even like we can make that connection with them, with the doctor, like by making an appointment for them, or just talking to the doctor to see what's going on and maybe explaining it to them, in a different way. So that's all.
And we help prepare them. So since we are in there during pregnancy, we talk about all those things during pregnancy. Here's what's normal. Here's what's not normal. Just as with the pregnancy, here's what's normal. Here's what's not normal to, help with preterm labor, things like that. And then after the baby's born, we talk about jaundice. Here's what it looks like. Here's things to, be concerned about. We also do developmental screenings that if the baby is having problems with what we call like torticollis, where their neck is to one side, or if they're not doing things that are developmental milestone, we talk to them either about ways it may be, they may have a partial flat head where they're just constantly on their back all the time. But of course, we talk about tummy time and safe sleep all the time. Even during pregnancy, like I said, when they buy their, when they're buying their crib or place for the baby to sleep. And then we talk about tummy time and developmental milestones and ways to play with your baby and interact with your baby.
That can be essential, especially if they do not have that knowledge or support from another peer, which happens quite frequently. So I was actually going to ask you about those milestones, and that if you notice a child isn't hitting those milestones, are you able to make referrals, or do you help teach mom to make referrals? Like, how does that work? Where is your role there?
And that's part of it is us, we are empowering them to do it. So we'll go alongside them and say, hey, do you see this? Do you notice this? And, we have this great program, early intervention. They are amazing miracle workers. And, how about if I make a referral to them? With them, sometimes it's easier that I make the referral. And I said, they'll be calling you. And so, most of the time, they're very, very good about that. Sometimes they're hesitant because they don't want the baby to be labeled, the child to be labeled if there is an issue. But there's ways we can discuss and educate that to kind of put him that way. So the child is actually the readiness for kindergarten. That is the other statistic that this shows, is because we are doing those developmental screenings and helping mom to educate her, to teach her baby or refer if they need to be seen.
No, that's excellent. That's another set of hands and eyes on a child. Interesting question. We have a larger immigrant community. Do you have to be a United States citizen to get this service?
No, you do not. We don't ask for passports or green cards or anything like that. And that's something sometimes that I will discuss with some of my families. I'm not here to deport you. That's not my job or anything. And sometimes the language barrier can be difficult, but most of the time, it's amazing how the 2.5 years, how their English improved so significantly over that time. So.
Yeah, that's actually one of my most highly asked questions for social services currently in Erie County is, do you have to be a U.S. citizen? So that's phenomenal, especially a new mom. They're so stressed out as it is, and to add the complexity of being new to their surroundings and their world, that's really awesome that you can work your way through that and not make it a hurdle they have to jump over. So when you get there, how long is an average visit when you go see a mom? Well, we're on telehealth, so telehealth's a little different, but
pre-COVID or currently?
Yeah.
Well, probably both. So COVID speaking, you're on a Zoom, right?
Or just a telephone.
Yeah, telephone call or video chat.
Yep.
And then that way you have eyes and ears. So I imagine that that makes your job a little bit more challenging because you've got to be a little bit more extra observant than you normally, could, because you gotta, here's the baby or the pregnancy even. So the training has to be different. But we're gonna go back to the real world here pretty soon. We're gonna do it. So we know we're gonna do it. What does that look like if we were not in the COVID universe and we were in person? Walk me through a normal standard visit. You show up my door, you ring the doorbell, go. What happens?
I'll like just ask how you're doing, like kind of catch up a little bit, a little small talk, and then we do the whole assessment, the infant and the mother, and then we do whatever activity I had planned or whatever kind of thing that they asked me to bring, or resources they asked me to bring, or whatever, or we'll also do like surveys where like different things that we have to ask about every so many months. Also like the assessments that Tammy was talking about, the development assessments, like we have to do those every so many months. So those are included. We do height and weight checks, and then circumference of the head, basic. I don't know. Whatever they really want to talk about too, like whatever's going on, like if something happened, if there's like a bomb, well then you're just going to talk about that. And that's just the way it is.
At the end of each of our visits, we discuss our plan for the next visit, what topics we want to cover, what things do we need to follow up on, what would I be asking the mom to do between now and then, what does she need me to do for her between now and then. And in a perfect world, we walk into the visit like Tiffany said, and we complete what we agreed on doing before. But in the real world, sometimes we walk in and we're just putting out fires while we're there. Their life has changed, there's some kind of crisis, and that's okay. We can set aside our agenda and we can just sit and listen to them and support them, and then help them find some direction and work out some solutions. And then the next time we're there, we'll pick up where we left off. So in-house, I think, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, visits probably average around an hour. Again, depending on how much we're trying to accomplish, how much they need to talk about. Might be a little less, might be a little more. We can be in the home as long as we need to. If it's an intense situation or lots going on, we can be in the house a couple hours if we need to, or we can zip out after 30 minutes if the mom's a real busy mom and just needs to see us maybe a little more often and not for as long for her schedule. We have a lot of flexibility with that, which is good. We really can shape our visits to meet the mom's needs and the mom's schedule.
I'm really impressed by this program as a whole because you have the capability to notice postpartum depression. You have the capability to be that listening ear that they absolutely need as new moms, and they're changing and they're in that exhausted phase of newbornness. And to have that person come, I remember my own child had early intervention, and I think we had sometimes people in twice a day for months on end as we were really hitting those therapies hard. And when they left, it was like I grieved the loss of friends. So I can only imagine how attached these moms come and get with you. So are those really hard days for you, or do you kind of still have that little bit of ability to keep track, and it's not see you later? Are you able after that 2.5 years to poke in, or are they allowed to contact you after that point? Like how does that work? Because I would imagine like me, you had that third birthday and it was like peace out, and I was like, I need you.
I have a mom that her baby is 20 years old, and the mom, who was a teen mom, she has bought her own house. She's gotten her college degree. And so thank goodness for Facebook. That has helped reconnect a lot of people. We now have a program for the moms of the graduates that they even have their own support group too. So it's kind of neat. There are quite a few that I've kept in touch with over the years, and I think Rhonda has too.
Yes, I think the four of you I just, you are nurses, so you've got a job to do, and this is how you're going to do it. And those new moms, sometimes you need that person of strength and guidance. And this program to provide that, and it's free of charge, right?
Yep.
Yes, so it's free of charge. You can do it even if you're not a naturalized or U.S. citizen. So these are all huge, gigantic bonuses and pluses. So why does the universe not know more about nurse-family partnership? How do you advertise?
That's a really good question. We ask ourselves that sometimes. We've been doing this for a while. We get a lot of referrals from the school district, from the Women's Care Center. We get some from WIC. We get some from insurance, the insurances directly. We do as much as we can with marketing and getting our program out there. A lot of word of mouth. We get referrals from friends of current clients. I don't really have a good answer for that. I don't know if any of the rest of you do, because we think everyone should know about it, of course. It's great, and it should be out there. And I don't know if it's been a matter of, there's been a couple name changes over the years, if that's led to it. I'm really not sure. I mean, we get the word out the best that we can. So
well, we're here to help you with that at Mission Empower. We're
There
going
we
to help
go.
you get the word out, because
Yeah.
I know we have some referrals that I can make definitely pretty soon. So I guess other than that, it's free. You are getting support of a nurse when you have an infant and up to a 2.5-year-old. You have somebody looking and helping you out with really crazy things. For instance, my son was 6 when he was finally diagnosed as celiac, and the whole entire time I'm like, there's
Wow.
something wrong, there's something wrong, there's something wrong. But if I had that nurse family partnership going on, I'm sure you ladies would have been like, okay, here's how we can help this digestive issue. Here's what you could have done differently, because he was a happy baby. But I cannot imagine the little safety net that you provide this little family that is new. And now that you're adding in second and third pregnancies, that's fourth, fifth, however many, like you said, that's just a phenomenal gift to our county.
I'd like to
I
add
really-
something really quick. Also, I really feel like too, with in the medical community, there's such a drop off, between pregnancy and postpartum. Like they're seeing the women, the OBGYNs are seeing the women, once a month, once every 2 weeks, once a week, up until they give birth. They give birth, everybody's all around them. They go home and there's nobody. And I feel like that's where like our biggest, I don't know, that's where I feel like I make the biggest connection with women, is because 2 weeks in, they're like, oh, yes, please talk to me. They're like, I'm constipated and I don't know what to do. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in that pure exhaustion point, and you don't know if you're doing it right. You don't know if you're doing it wrong. There's a stranger living in your house.
Right.
And to have somebody show up that is like non-judgmental. I mean, you're going in with this pure, clean heart of being a helper. So that's what I really love about this, is that you're trying to be a helper. Of course, I assume you're a mandated reporter, but you're being a helper. You are doing what you need to do to help that family.
Our
and that
job
mom.
is to prevent it before it got to reporting.
Yeah,
And we
exactly.
do try to teach coping as well.
That's important to know. So see, these are all really, it's a really important service. So like I said, I am so glad that I found out about this service, and I am happy to help you let everybody in the universe know about it. So anybody out there in Zoom land, do you have any questions for these lovely ladies? Oh, is there similar program for afterbirth from Ruby Reed? This is for afterbirth, birth to 2.5 years old, Ruby.
Well, right. Well, our program has to start before the mom gives birth. So she might be asking about after they've given birth.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So the health department does have another maternal child health program for women, and they it doesn't have to start when they're pregnant. It can be after the baby's born. That's another parenting program. So if somebody's interested in that and they might call Nurse Family Partnership. Maybe they've already delivered. We can make the referral to that other program. There's also different parenting programs through the Erie Family Center, and we make referrals to them quite frequently, as they will back to us. So there are some other programs out there for parents after the baby's born. We like to get the
Perfect.
moms before the baby's born, and then we stay until they turn 2.
So how crucial is the 28 weeks? Like if they're 30 weeks, or is it like, nope, that's a cutoff. We need to have a cutoff and that's it.
Yeah, the cutoff is pretty hard at the end of the 28th week,
Okay.
because again, the theory is that we need to get moms early enough in their pregnancy to positively impact their pregnancy, because we know if the pregnancy's healthy, more likely the baby's healthy, and if mom and baby are healthy, that increases their potential of a good bond and positive parenting. Now, I will say if we've gotten a referral on a mom and she's not 28 weeks yet, and we've had some fits and starts with trying to reach her, maybe we had a visit scheduled and she had an emergency and couldn't keep it. So maybe she hasn't enrolled yet at 28 weeks, but we've had some contact and she's interested. Then it's up to myself to talk with the nurse to say, geez, we're going to make an exception. We're going to enroll her at 29 or 29 and a half weeks. But
Okay.
generally the cutoff is 28. And if they're past 28 at the point we get the referral, we cannot take them.
Okay.
So
So
kind
that's
of a
pretty,
case by
that's
case
pretty
basis.
in stone. That's fine. I
Yeah,
just need
yeah,
to,
it's
we
pretty,
grew- okay.
pretty
Great.
black and white.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, does
One
anybody
other
else?
thing too is that the girls can refer themselves. The referrals don't have to come from an agency. So if they hear about it, they can call us themselves. You know, it doesn't have to come in through a provider. So
Right. It does not have to be physician ordered. It's a voluntary program. So yeah, they can self-refer. Thank you, Rhonda.
Does anybody else have a question for these ladies?
Okay. I'll ask one more on that note. So we work with teens in school. So how intimidating is because they're always like, what am I gonna, they don't want one more thing on their plate, yet they want help. So how difficult is it to get to like refer themselves or do that? Is it kind of intimidating, or is it like, nope, it's super easy. It's one little piece of paper and we go on our way? Because like for us, we are not one piece of paper. We are like a gajillion. It's like an hour long, but we gently do it so it doesn't seem like we're really doing paperwork. But so how intimidating is the referral? If that's a good word. I don't know. Maybe that's not a good word.
it's a really good word. A lot of times with school students, what I like to do is just go hang out in the office, and the counselor or the parenting advisor will just call them down and say, hey, there's somebody here I'd like you to talk to. And we just have a conversation. And then if they decide that they're interested, they sign a piece of paper, and then we go from there. We don't even have to have parent approval, really, because the pregnant mom is the client. So it's just a
Nice.
conversation with them, basically.
Nice. That's refreshing because everything else is so hard. So yeah, thank you.
And the referral, if, whether you're filling it out or if they fill it out, it's name, address, due date, OB, contact phone number. So it's very simple in that, regards. And fax it or email it over.
There you go. And do you meet with them once a week?
Depending on what their schedule is, we, once a week to every other week.
Okay.
If they feel comfortable with doing every other week, every third week, then, then we can do that. If, I've had ones where sometimes I've had to meet them twice a week, if they've had a crisis going on or something. So we're very flexible in that, aspect, that
Right.
trying to keep with them and build that bond and responsibility, that response back and forth to each other.
Great. Flexible is always good.
The only expectation is we have to have regular contact with them to maintain them in the program. So we like to have contact at least once a month. But again, like Tammy said, some moms we see every week, some moms we see once a month. It just depends on their need and their schedule.
Thank you. Perfect.
See what I'm talking about? nobody knows. And then we do this, and then people know. Ta-da! I'm telling you, does anybody else have a question for our wonderful nurses here from Nurse Family Partnership?
I see Carol had one. Are we in every county? I think we're in like, what, 58 of 66 counties. Unfortunately, the
Mhm.
2 counties below us, Mercer and Crawford, do not have them. But Erie County does. But majority of the counties in PA now have a nurse family partnership.
And I see that Kelsey had a question too. Can you work with a youth that is in a placement facility?
If we can see them, and are they planning on parenting?
We can see them even if they're not going to stay in Erie. We try and keep them if they're in Erie, but if there's a nurse family partnership in the county that they're going back to, we can see them while they're here and then transfer them to the county that they're going back to.
Also, they can self-refer on the Nurse Family Partnership website. If you just Google Nurse Family Partnership, there's a good website there too.
We're actually in other countries now, so we're worldwide. Yeah, so we're just about in every state, and now we're in other countries.
There is a Survey Monkey at the top of this chat that we have. The Survey Monkey is necessary because we are federally funded and we have to prove and show that our process here is effective and provide data that we are providing services to our community. So I am so glad to have had the 4 of you on today for Wonderful Wednesdays with Wendy. And I look forward to working with you with some of our clientele here soon. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure we'll be talking.